Hey everybody, it's Australia Day here in Perth, so I thought what a great opportunity to record a video for you. And something that's come up recently is talking about how cats are in terms of nature versus nurture. And when you have a breeding cat, one of the things that can be really problematic is if you get a breeding cat from somebody else and it doesn't have a great temperament. And there's a lot of things I want to tell you about that, but first I want to explain to you what I mean by that, nature versus nurture. The question arises as to whether that cat has a bad temperament because it was born that way or if it has something to do with the way it was raised. And this is a big issue because when we bring our cats into the world, we have to do everything we can to make sure that they have the best temperament they can have so that they can go along and be pets later on for other people and have happy and wonderful lives. It is very difficult to keep a cat that doesn't have a good temperament. It is very hard to love a cat that doesn't have a very good temperament. And so this can become a really big issue if you're not on top of it. But first of all, I want to talk to you about some situations because I want to make it clear that it is not always one or the other, and sometimes it can be a bit of both. Sometimes it's a person's fault and sometimes it's actually just the cat. And I want to say up front, we need to remember that cats are like people. They each have their own personality. They're not all going to be the same. They're not all going to be the perfect examples of their breed in terms of their type, but they're also not all going to match that understanding you have of the temperament for that particular breed. So let me talk to you about two cats that I have. The first cat I want to talk to you about is my cat Candy. Now Candy, she's a beautiful big fat chocolate British Shorthair. Candy originally came from London and then she came to live in Sydney with the breeder in Sydney. Now when she got to Sydney, the breeder had some stuff going on and that's fine, that happens to all of us. But Candy actually was probably, the fact is when you bring cats to Australia, they have to go through quarantine and stuff. So she probably was a little bit older at that stage, not a baby kitten. She came into this new environment. She didn't really settle in too good and she actually went out into a cattery pen and that's where she was. Now there was a lot going on and as a result of that, she actually had to get sent from Sydney to Adelaide. So she went to Adelaide for a mating. And so then she was over in Adelaide and a lot more stuff was happening and the breeder decided that she actually wasn't going to be able to keep Candy anymore. Now Candy came from the same breeder that I already had two cats from the UK. So she contacted me and said, it's going to be okay with the breeder, would you like to have Candy? And of course I said yes, because she looked great, she was a gorgeous cat, and she was a chocolate cat at a time when there wasn't very many chocolates in Australia. I think she was the second one ever imported into Australia. So I said yes, because I was breeding lilacs and chocolates at the time and I was really excited. So then Candy made her way from Adelaide and she came to Perth. And I put a love heart here because Candy arrived and we loved her from the day she arrived. Candy did not love us back. Candy was the ultimate no-touchy cat when she arrived. She spent the first couple of weeks in a cage in our lounge room getting used to us and she would hide. And then after a couple of weeks, she stopped hiding and she would sort of crouch down and watch us and see what we were doing. And it took a long time to be able to deal with Candy. And we actually came up with a term which we called candy walking, which is what Damien would do to move Candy from one area to another. And he would hold Candy and he would walk her along the floor like this because we could not pick that cat up. We could not pick that cat up. Over time, Candy mellowed. Candy had amazing kittens for us. And I know people would be saying, why did you have kittens from her? Well, remember this is going back to when I first started breeding and I didn't have a lot of help with the choices that I was making and I felt that I was doing the right thing because Candy had come all the way to Australia, all the way to Sydney, all the way to Adelaide and then all the way to Perth. I figured that what would that journey, all of that journey that she'd been through, it would be a waste not to have a litter of kittens and maybe keep one of the kittens. Candy, in other videos I've shared with you, Candy went on to have a very long breeding career and was amazing, the most amazing mum cat I've ever had. And she had some beautiful, beautiful cats for us and she's behind a lot of the cats that we have now. But Candy was a no-touchy cat. Now that she is about, I want to say she's about 16, maybe 17 years old now, Damien can pick Candy up and he can pat Candy and she enjoys it. I can groom Candy if I need to with the clippers and I can pat Candy if I approach her while she's asleep, facing the other direction and there's no noises going on around her. and then I can pat her and she's quite happy and she will purr. But she is a no touchy cat. So by the time I got her, a lot of what she had learnt about being a cat was already done. There was not a lot of scope to change that, and it's difficult. It's a bit like when you're doing something to rehome and rescue feral cats. It can take a long time to get them socialised, but we have got there and Candy is sort of socialised. I want to just reiterate the love heart there. We absolutely adore this cat. We love Candy. Candy is an amazing cat and we love her very much. It's just that she's not a cat that's ever given a lot back to us in terms of affection. Now, the point I want to make about that is that with Candy, from the moment she arrived, it was very clear Candy was staying with us forever, because there was no way we could rehome Candy into a pet home and have them have a cat that was like that. That is basically an ornament. You can look at it, but you can't touch it. I didn't want that for Candy, and I didn't want somebody to be unhappy, somebody to own her and then be unhappy with the cat that they have. I wanted them to love her for her, and that's how we love her. So Candy is still with us now and she will be with us forever, and that's okay. And that's part of breeding. Sometimes you're going to have situations where that's going to be the end result. Now, the next cat I want to tell you about is Pinky. Pinky is much more no touchy than Candy. She is absolutely no touchy. Now Pinky is currently, I'd say Pinky must be about maybe 14, maybe 13. Pinky is currently out in the cattery. She's with a group of cats, including Candy. She's very, very fond of Candy. They're great friends. They're often smooching each other. But Pinky, I think maybe in the last month, I don't think I have physically touched Pinky. And I know a lot of people will be like, oh my God, what? You've not touched a cat that you own? No, I haven't. I have been very close to Pinky, well, as close as she'll let me get. And I have seen Pinky and I can tell that Pinky's in good condition. About a month ago, I did have to give her a groom. She was a bit knotted up. So we did have to sort of get her into an area, hold her down and groom her. And she actually is okay when I do that. But the rest of the time, Pinky is no touchy, no touchy. She's like a double no touchy cat. She doesn't want to have anything to do with me. She doesn't want to have anything to do with Damien, and most of our cats love him. And when she's been in the house, she will sit underneath the TV while we're watching TV. If you approach her, she is out of there. She is just not happy at all. Even when I go into the pen to give them food, she will stand back and glare at me. And then as soon as the food's down and I'm out, she's in and eating. She's no interest in having any relationship with us at all. And here's the thing about Pinky. So this is Candy, had all of these things going on in her life. And in that situation, you could say that's someone's fault, that someone did that to her, that Candy, the breeder, didn't socialise her, the owners that she had didn't socialise her, and you can say that that's their fault. I'm not saying that's their fault, but you could say that's their fault. That's the conclusion you could draw from that. Pinky was from Katie, who I bred, from Bentley, which I've spelt wrong, but from Bentley, who I bred, and from Betsy, who I bred. So Katie to Bentley to Betsy to Pinky. I bred all of those cats and I ended up with Pinky. And she has a love heart there as well, because just like Candy, we absolutely adore Pinky. I would love to have a relationship with Pinky, but I love Pinky for who she is. And again, Pinky's going to stay with us forever. And that's the thing. This cat, I had every influence on what that cat would end up to be. And you guys know I have some pretty friendly social cats, and I have some really happy people that own my cats, and I still have Pinky. So it's not always going to be about how you raise them, because I did my absolute best with Pinky, just like I do with every cat that I breed, and she still ended up being a no touchy, double no touchy. She is just, yeah. And so I call a cat like that a bit of an ornament. And I really do. She's so cute. She's so cute. I really do love her. Anyway, the situation with Pinky again is that Pinky's staying with us, because I would never rehome Pinky into a home, because no one's going to be happy with that. In saying that though, occasionally, very occasionally, the right person does come along. And we had the situation with a cat that we had called Lily. And Lily had a litter of kittens for us at a year old. She had beautiful kittens, friendly kittens, but Lily is standoffish. Very standoffish. Again, if you go up to her at the right time, without crowding her and that, you can pat her and that's fine. But the rest of the time, she's off. She's no touchy. but she is a very pretty cat. Now Lily actually went to go live with a lady who has had 3 of our cats previously. So someone that I am very confident, if she had any problems with this cat, would bring it back to me. I also am very confident that she would take very good care of her no matter what, and I know that she loves them very, very much as well. So Lily went to go live with this lady, and she is still exactly the same cat. She sends me videos of Lily. She sends me pictures of Lily in a really cute little cubby looking out at her, sort of like glaring at her. She sends me pictures of Lily walking past her and glaring at her as she's walking past, videos of that. But she also sends me videos of Lily playing with a leaf and Lily checking out the birds through the window and Lily sleeping here and doing that. She is besotted with Lily. She loves Lily and she's happy that Lily's just an ornamental cat. She understands that she's not going to be the lap cat. She's not going to be the swooshing between your legs kind of cat. She also has worked out ways to groom her, which can be a bit difficult in a cat like this, and she gets that done as well. But she is absolutely besotted with Lily. So there will be special homes for these cats, but most of the time there's not, and they have to stay with you. So I wanted to make it clear that even though, yes, they can be a product of their environment, a product of who owns them, a product of what's happened in their life, they can also just be born that way. And when they are, this or this, the most important thing I want you to take away from this discussion, it's not really to do with that. The message that I want to give you is when you breed a cat like this, please, please don't sell it for breeding. Just don't. And I want to tell you why. When you sell a cat like this for breeding, remember what I said, that home that came along, they're very special homes. It is really hard to find a home like that. If you sell this cat for breeding, the breeder, maybe this won't happen. Maybe they're going to be something like myself where they'll keep the cat like I kept Candy and I just decided she was staying with us forever. Maybe that's going to be the case, but you don't have control once the cat leaves you. If you sell this cat to someone who doesn't have maybe as good at ethics as you, maybe isn't as caring as you, maybe just doesn't understand as much as you do, and that person then finishes breeding with this cat and desexes it and retires it, and then just gives it away as a pet to someone. And you have that same situation I talked about before, where someone is getting a cat that's not giving them anything in return, that's not social, that's not friendly, that they can't touch. They are not going to want that cat. They are not going to love that cat. That cat's not going to be the cat of their dreams. Maybe that cat looks exactly like the cat of their dreams, but it's not behaving like the cat of their dreams. And I would never want anyone to own a cat that I've bred to say to me, I don't like this cat because it's not friendly. I don't like this cat because I can't touch it. I want everyone to love the cats that they get from me. Whether I bred them or not is, it doesn't matter if I didn't breed the cat. I just want them to be loved. And I think that's a real struggle, that if you have a breeding cat that's not socialized and not social, either from nature or nurture, if you pass it on to someone else and then that person passes it on, that cat's not going to have a good life. That cat's not going to have a good life. It could end up in a shelter situation. It could get handed off to family members. It could get handed off to strangers. It could just be let out to roam. That happens a lot as well. It's not a really great cat. I'm just going to open the door and let it come and go, and whatever happens, happens. So you have that situation as well. So if you have one of these cats, it may be that it's going to be a forever cat for you. In that circumstance, I have some of these cats. I have a boy at the moment who has a temperament that's not suitable for rehoming. He's a friend for one of my other stud cats. I have another boy that I actually bred. He wasn't from cats that I bred. He was from 2 cats that I bought from other breeders and put together, and then I bred a cat that was not super social. He's no touchy as well. Actually, he's touchy, but he's just like, I'm not interested in people. No, he's a great big fat lump. He just lives in the barn. He's a friend for some of my other cats, and he's just living his life. He's living his best life. He's happy with that life. He's happy to be ornamental, but he is not a cat that I could say to somebody else, would you like him? Because he doesn't have a lot to offer, bless him. Bless him, he doesn't even look like a proper British Shorthair. That's our boy Schmitty. You may have heard me talk about him before. I really want to stress the fact that I absolutely do love this cat, and he's getting the best of care. He's just that cat, basically. So that is what happens when you have a situation with cats' temperaments being difficult. It can be nature, it can be nurture, it can be both of them even. It can I think that's where we are with Candy. I think that she was maybe never going to be that cat, that was all super friendly and social, but the way she moved around really didn't help. And but she's here now. We love her. We love Pinky as well. We love Schmitty as well. And I want you to know just that one fact is, when you have a cat like this, please don't pass it on as a breeding cat. If you can find that pet home that's going to love it as an ornamental cat, fantastic. But don't pass it on as a breeding cat, because all breeding cats get retired and they need to go somewhere. I mean, we don't have any control over where they're going if we've sold them off as a breeding cat in between. So I'm hoping that that's helped you. And the reason that I had this discussion with you today is because it was raised as a topic in my new Cat Breeders Club. Now, if you want to find out more about the new Cat Breeders Club, it's a fantastic place for people that are new to breeding to get together, to talk about things. You can send questions directly to me and I'll answer them for you. I'll answer them in videos, I'll answer them in typing, and people are sharing their setups, sharing what they use for their cats, asking some really interesting questions as well. And we have people in there from all around the world and all breeds of cats. If you'd like to find out more, visit my website at www.catbreedingforbeginners.com. I'd love to see you there. Bye for now.